Hundreds of protesters gathered in Oakland to demonstrate against U.S. immigration and customs enforcement during a nationwide weekend of action called ICE Out for Good. The protests followed the fatal shooting of Renee Nicole Good in Minneapolis last week and are part of coordinated demonstrations across the United States.
So, a large collaboration of organizations came together to ask activists across the country from all different types of organizations to come out for a weekend of action called ICE Out for Good. And there are more than 1,000 events this weekend, and this is one of them.
Protesters filled the streets of Oakland, California, calling for an end to U.S. immigration enforcement in local communities. The demonstrations are part of a nationwide weekend of action known as ICE Out for Good, inspired by the fatal shooting of Renee Nicole Good in Minneapolis last week. Organizers say more than 1,000 events were planned across the country. Protesters held signs, waved U.S. flags, and demanded changes to federal immigration policy.
The message of this particular event is that we want ICE out of our communities. We don't need them. They are not making anything more safe. They, in fact, are making things much more dangerous, mostly for vulnerable populations, but for all of us. And more broadly, we don't want a police state. We don't want a secret police that is kidnapping our neighbors, that's pulling families apart. And then even more broadly, we want an end to the MAGA regime. We want to make sure that our movement gets larger and larger and larger, and that we can all come together to rise up and say that we do not want MAGA in power. We want to vote in people who are real opposition to MAGA, and then we want to build a better democracy on the other side of that.
Hundreds of protesters gathered in Oakland, California, to demonstrate against U.S. immigration and customs enforcement as part of a nationwide weekend of action called ICE Out for Good. The protests were inspired by the fatal shooting of Renee Nicole Good, a 37-year-old woman killed by an ICE agent in Minneapolis last week. Her death has sparked demonstrations in cities across the United States. Organizers say a large coalition of advocacy groups coordinated more than 1,000 events nationwide, urging activists to oppose immigration enforcement in their communities. Protesters carried signs, waved American flags, and called for greater protections for immigrants. Demonstrations were also held or planned in major cities including Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, and Washington, D.C., as calls for changes to federal immigration policy continue.